Nightcrawler's deadly choice. The world blurred, color smearing into a tunnel of impossible speed, then snapped back into agonizing clarity. Kurt Wagner, the Nightcrawler, landed with a gasp, his knees buckling under him. He wasn't alone. Clutched tightly in his arms, a young woman, her face pale with terror and nausea, slumped against him. They were safe, perched precariously on a fire escape 2 blocks from the collapsing building they'd just fled. But safety had a price. Kurt's head swam. The distinct smell of ozone, his unique scent of brimstone, was not merely a side effect of his power. It was the residue of immense physical exertion. His stomach roiled, a deep ache pulsed behind his eyes, and every muscle in his body felt like it had been stretched and then compressed in a vice. He coughed, a dry, racking sound, and struggled to regain his breath, his usually agile limbs feeling sluggish and heavy. The young woman beside him, still trembling, retched over the side of the railing, her fear momentarily overshadowed by a profound sickness. This, you see, is the hidden truth behind Nightcrawler's amazing ability. We often marvel at the effortless-seeming Bamfs of teleportation, the instant disappearance and reappearance that whisks him and sometimes others away from danger. But what if that seemingly magical ability came with a steep, even terrifying physical toll? What if every single jump was a calculated risk, a draining of vital energy, pushing him closer to a precipice he dare not cross? Imagine for a moment that Nightcrawler's power is not a limitless well, but a finite reserve of energy, intimately tied to his very physiology. A short jump across a room or behind an enemy might feel like a quick burst of adrenaline, easily recovered from. But extend that distance across a city block or even a few miles, and the cost exponentially escalates. It's not just fatigue, it's a profound disorientation, a bone-deep exhaustion that leaves him gasping, his mind struggling to recalibrate with the sudden shift in space. The longer the distance, the more difficult, the more disorienting, and the more physically exhausting it becomes. This becomes especially critical when Nightcrawler isn't just transporting himself. When he takes passengers, the burden multiplies. Each person he carries through the void adds to the strain, amplifying the disorientation and the physical sickness for both him and his unwitting companions. It's why you rarely see him teleporting an entire crowd. Even a single passenger, transported over a moderate distance, will often emerge weakened and ill, sometimes to the point of complete exhaustion. The brief, horrifying sensation of being pulled through a non-space, a sudden disruption of all physical senses, is more than just startling, it's genuinely debilitating. For Kurt, the hero, this means every rescue, every necessary evacuation becomes a delicate negotiation with his own limits. And then there's the ultimate risk. Pushing his limits, attempting a long-distance teleportation beyond what his body can reasonably endure, could be fatal. We're not talking about a temporary blackout or a few days of recovery. We mean a permanent, devastating consequence. The stresses on his physiology, the disjunction of space and time, could simply overload his system, tearing him apart at a molecular level, or plunging him into a coma from which there is no return. This brutal physical cost adds an incredible layer of stakes to Nightcrawler's every decision. Every long jump, every rescue involving a civilian, is not just an act of heroism, it's a calculated risk, a desperate weighing of the urgency of the situation against his own physical limits. Imagine him standing at the edge of a collapsing structure, a child trapped inside. The only way out, a teleportation beyond what he knows he can comfortably manage. The seconds tick by, not just as a measure of time, but as a measure of his fading strength, his increasing nausea, the pounding in his head that threatens to overwhelm him. This constant balancing act adds a profound tension to his heroic rescues. He can't just blindly charge in, teleporting willy-nilly. He must assess, he must plan, he must conserve. It transforms him from a simple teleporter into a strategic, vulnerable, and deeply human hero. It makes his acts of bravery all the more poignant because we understand that with every successful rescue, he might be shaving a little off his own lifespan, or at the very least, enduring a private agony that no one truly sees. His faith and his compassion, often cited as his core strengths, become intertwined with this physical burden. His desire to save others often forces him to push himself to the brink, driven by an unwavering belief in the sanctity of life, even at the cost of his own well-being. In the end, Nightcrawler's power, for all its flash and spectacle, is a heavy cross to bear. It transforms him from a simply agile hero into a deeply sacrificing one, always teetering on the edge of his own physical limits. His heroism isn't just about what he can do, but what he chooses to endure, jump after painful jump for the sake of others. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest acts of courage are those unseen, the battles fought within, where the true cost of power is measured not in explosions, but in the quiet, agonizing moments of recovery. What are your thoughts on heroes whose powers come with a significant, debilitating cost? Do these limitations make them more relatable or less? Share your insights and reflections in the comments below. And if you found this exploration thought-provoking, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into the lives and powers of our favorite heroes.